Hello to our dear friends overseas. Okay, I'm done with my fake British accent. That was very
I wondered where that was going. How long that was going to last.
I sometimes like to sing when we start.
Yeah,
you know, like free falling or whatever. Seriously, best to all you guys over there in the British Isles, UK, Ireland, Northern Ireland, Scotland, all of our friends and our fans that watch. We know you guys are in a weird situation, tough situation. Lockdown has happened again over there. Hopefully by the time you see this, lockdown is over.
Hopefully, yes.
To us, this is coming out tomorrow. But to you, it's maybe weeks from now. But particularly, like, hello to our friends over at Anderton's, Strange Old Danish Pete. Jack over at the Pete's Guitar Land.
Guitars.
And Pete's they're launching a new channel to sort of like focus on their demos to sort of pair. So that's kind of a neat thing. So if you are fans of Pete's, just check out the new channel. It's launching soon. They're not closing their old channel. It's going to get just as big and better. We love their channel. And tune in on Jack's like live cast because he actually responds to you, and just to hear his voice, it's so perfect. It's frustrating.
Like a young Hugh Grant.
Oh my goodness! And to me, Hugh Grant is still young. Like he is forever young. Anyway, evergreen. We're talking about the British invasions.
Whew. Invasions, you say?
Yes, because everyone's like the British invasion. We're not talking about when they tried to like take back what was rightfully their colonies. We're talking
totally different.
We're talking about 1960s and further on. Let's start with well, let's just talk about this. So we look at the British invasions as just the Beatles and stuff, but there's so many more times they've inundated us with their culture and their ideas and their shenanigans. We're gonna break it down a little bit.
I like it.
Okay, so the British invasion, number one, 1960, 63 is sort of like the real watermark, or we can talk about 64 when the Beatles play the Ed Sullivan Show.
That's what I automatically think of. Yep.
That's they'd done some events before on television that got sent over here to us, and like it blew things up. But you got the Beatles, you got the Who, you got the Stones, obviously. You got the Animals, which is like a lot of people don't know who the Animals are anymore. Right. Man, they blew the scene open, and they played cool guitars. You got Herman Hermits, you got the Dave Clark Five. All these great bands that we were not ready for. Because American rock and roll, we sort of like started this core of, we had the Buddy Holly and Elvis, and we had these great artists. Yeah. And the Buddy Holly and the Crickets, I'm obsessed with. And the Beatles, like that's Keith Richards, like one of his most influential acts he said he ever saw was Buddy Holly. Isn't that crazy? Because Buddy wrote his own stuff. He wasn't like, cool. Elvis didn't really write his music. It was
a little different.
An artist. But anyway, so it was a complete cultural shift. We all know this. And we're not going to spend too much time on the first invasion because it's pretty well documented.
I would say that's pretty substantiated. Yes.
And like, we talk about the best bands in the world, like two of them are right there. Like the Beatles and the Stones.
The Beatles, yeah.
We're going to name the three best. Like there's one more. We'll save that for another video and get your thoughts and comments. But I mean, that's pretty amazing what it changed us culture. It sort of introduced the beginning of flower power too, in a strange way. Yeah. Once they started to morph, the Stones started off as a pretty clean act, and then once that bad boy rep happened, that was when we started seeing that a little bit. We had it with Eddie Cochran a bit, right? Who also died very young in England. Thanks a lot for that. But that's the first British invasion. That's the groups of that. But then we have part two, which I would say comes about 20 years later.
Interesting.
In the year of 1980.
Okay.
And so this is when we have, music has changed dramatically. Disco is sort of on its way out. But we have, here comes Duran Duran. Here comes the Culture Club. Here comes Wham. Here comes a great guitar-based band called U2, 1978 ballpark. But 80s are when they sort of blow up. All the way into the 90s, all the way into the 2000s. So, I mean, U2 is its own thing. We're going to have a video on them just on how much we're obsessed with what they've done. But
I had a U2 phase later in life, but as a child, because I was just being born around this time, I was obsessed with Culture Club. I mean, like, I don't know why, but I just loved Culture Club. Maybe it was my mom. I don't know.
But you just started that conversation with I have a U2 thing about.
I had a U2 phase like later in life, but I'm just talking like young, like 5, 6-year-old Jonathan.
I mean,
would walk around singing.
Do you really want to hurt me? That song is. It's funny you mention that because I thought Boy George was amazing.
I did too. I just thought the come a chameleon thing. Yeah.
And there's a weird I have a small personal story about that. I actually I had a slow dance with Boy George.
What?
In New York City when I had a band. My band was popular for literally 5 seconds. We played a show. He was there. I think he asked me to dance with him and I was like, yes, amazing.
you gotta
we
say
hung
yes.
out, and he's funniest, coolest guy ever. This is.
Oh, that's your best story. How have I never heard this
I
story
don't know. I
before?
have dumb stories. I don't know. This is probably 20. God, it's like 20 years ago. Or
Yeah.
So. Jesus, I'm old.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, what an amazing icon! All like from because from Wham you get George Michael,
Right.
obviously. You have Tears for Fears.
Yep,
all
those
this stuff,
folks.
this early thing, and then they sort of like that sort of solidified what American pop music was trying to emulate at that time too.
Sure.
And that was it. It gave to the birth of our pop icons of Madonna, but the British sound it's there. You listen to electronic drums, very tight guitars. I'm a huge fan of like the Smiths, New Order, like Joy Division type things as well. But that's like sort of not as mainstream. We're trying to stick with mainstream a bit. But that's kind of what was pushing on the undercurrent to help in the Clash.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's get into like one of my favorite, which I call, some people put this together. They lump the 80s and 90s together. But I think this is completely separate. The third British invasion starts really right around like 89 to 90, then goes into like 93 almost.
Cool.
But then it stops like a hammer. It was a very sad stop. But this is bands like, well, it started off, I mean, Oasis is the king. You have Blur.
Yep.
You have, The Verve, another one. Like everyone's like The Verve, Oasis feuding. Like, and then who's going to win? Like Oasis just destroyed them because they have Bittersweet Symphony, and I think Richard Ashcroft is amazing.
They are amazing.
And I love The Verve, but it wasn't a real feud. It was all media hype. Yeah. The feud happened within Oasis. But the band that sort of launched those guys, launched them inspirationally. The heart was the Stone Roses.
See, and I don't know as much about them.
We're gonna have a whole video on them,
Cool.
sort of soon too. So I'll teach you up on that. No, don't do the homework. I'll teach you up.
No, okay.
I'll learn you up good. No, because I've seen some of the solo members from the Stone Roses do tours, and like it's amazing.
Very cool.
Because I was a huge Oasis fan. Obviously, we all know this, and people make fun of me for this all the time. But whatever, I'm proud. I also like unicorns. But you can hear the guitar work, and it all tracks back to Johnny Marr. As far as, but then when the British invasion of this time happened, it was amazing. Like the world was changing. When Wonderwall broke and Champagne Supernova.
I remember that.
This is their second record.
Yeah.
They're already huge in the UK, and that's kind of how the Beatles did it. This is the most similar. They landed over here, and it's like, whoa! They're selling out amphitheaters and festivals, and the only problem is Liam's not showing up to some of the gigs. He doesn't show up to the MTV show. But he's in the audience.
That's right.
Heckling his brother while his brother sings his songs, and it was not a nice moment. But the power of everyone, we still sing Wonderwall.
Absolutely, we do.
And what the hell is a Wonderwall?
I have no idea.
What's a Champagne Supernova or Nova, however he pronounces it? It's it doesn't matter. Because you watch Noel reading his mean tweets or reading his tweets, and he's like, I don't know what it is, but it bought me a bunch of swimming pools and mansions, and I wasn't really there. I was doing lots of drugs. Yeah. But no, it was an amazing time. Then and the music was it's very Beatles centric.
It is
a lot of it, and then Blur became Gorillaz, and that sort of transformation later. But then it stopped. It just stopped, and I look at what was around the corner.
Grunge.
Yeah, because grunge just sort of put a death nail, and that's okay. Grunge was happening at the same time, and so grunge was our American,
right?
And so the two just then grunge, Nirvana, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam became dominant forces. People wanted to be sad and upset about things, and we sort of own that.
That's true.
But we're not talking about grunge. That's a whole other deal too.
Different video.
The British invasion kind of stopped there, which broke my heart. And then it kind of started to come back again later, but it took about 20 more years.
20-ish years.
Because we look at 2010 and a little bit before, but you have these artists coming out, and it's not bands in the same way.
Nope.
It's artists like Adele, so Amy Winehouse. You're like, well, what is all this stuff coming out? It's very similar, but and then you have Ed Sheeran,
right,
and Sam Smith.
Yes.
But Ed Sheeran is perhaps the biggest when he came out, and now is one of the biggest stars in the world, and it's not something that we can easily overlook. He also plays guitar, which we're thrilled by.
Yes.
And his collaborations with the likes of Taylor Swift's to everybody, and it's kind of amazing what he's done. Then you have bands like Coldplay to that. So they launched, early 2000s, but they've sort of carried U2's torch through.
Right.
And are continuing, like the British, they're one of the top selling acts in history at this point. And you look at all these artists, and besides Coldplay, like, is the pop star groups, and we're waiting to see what England's going to do next. We're about due.
I'd say we're getting close.
So we're due. So we're waiting, I think, to see what you guys come up with next over there across the pond, or you guys have the pond to Europe, I guess. We're going to call it the Big Puddle.
Is it going to be a Jack and Danish Pete supergroup?
God, that'd be so cool.
I'd go. I'd buy tickets.
Who would sing in that group, though?
Doesn't matter.
They gotta have a singer.
They gotta have one.
Guitar.
No.
That's the magic of those groups.
They could do it.
I mean,
it'd be great.
On back to the '90s, I didn't mention Radiohead and
Right.
and Garbage and Bush but those didn't really survive the '90s. As well, Radiohead transformed. Another story. But yeah, so we're waiting though. Because the last one, it was very pop centric. One Direction, and Harry Styles is continuing that torch.
Yep.
He's doing very well right now, and we actually all like his music. Well, I do. I don't know if you listen to Watermelon Sugar as much as I do.
The few things I've seen have actually been impressive. I was surprised.
And I hear he's a stupendously nice person too.
Which is awesome.
One of our dear friends has worked with him for quite a bit and hear wonderful things. Anyway,
wasn't that him that did he did the Sledgehammer cover, Peter Gabriel, on Howard Stern?
That's really cool. I don't know.
It was really cool.
God, Peter Gabriel, good pull too. I love him. Thanks.
Pretty awesome.
Where's he from? So frustrating. No, but England, like you have given us pretty much my favorite music. Like when we do like top bands or something, we can't like use England because they sort of win. Like it's frustrating. Like in the UK and like Ireland, it's
stacked.
Like it is. It's the deck's stacked. Don't get me wrong. I think we still have the best solo artists. You cannot beat Elvis and Prince and Michael Jackson.
It's true.
But as far as bands, you kind of got us.
It's tough to say, but it's kind of true.
It's frustrating.
Yeah.
I think, so I want to hear what you guys think.
I'm sure there will be some opinions in the comment section.
Well, I think this is all pretty fun stuff, though.
It is fun.
It's good.
And we love that. We love to hear what you guys say.
Well, it's like,
makes us happy.
Because I mean, like this British invasion, like, is it an invasion? Are they multiple invasions anymore? I'm going to correct myself and question it. Or is it like, is this just a continual flow now ever since the first one?
It is funny that you say that because obviously you think about the first one, but a lot of the bands that you named were such a part of my like high school years or growing up. It just never even occurred to me, some of those bands, that, they were British guys. No, it was just this band. This was the music that I listened to,
It's, because I mean, like you guys do it every time with like, kind of without failing. It's frustrating.
It's true.
So guys, we're ready for the next wave.
Come on.
We need some fresh music. We would like a few guitars in there. We don't care how you use them. Just use them.
Yeah.
Make noise. Have fun. Everybody, good luck over there too. We hope to come out of this lockdown safe, prosperous, happy, not too many babies on the way. There's a lot of us already. So just have fun, but not too much fun. And send us some music quick.
Thank you guys for watching. Hit like and subscribe. Click the bell so you don't miss anything in the future. We will see you next time.
Danish Baxter signing out.